Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and today I cannot describe how excited I am to be bringing you guys a review of Ninjago, Sons of Garmadon, episode 79, Dead Man's Squall. Now this has to be one of my favorite Ninjago episodes ever. And you know why? I'm going to explain to you why. So, there was not many things I disliked in this episode. There was like one thing that I disliked in this entire episode, and I'll get into it later. But first, let's talk about everything I did like. So, first thing I really liked was the entire fight between Zane and Mr. E. Oh my gosh, that was a nice fight. And it really made me feel like they're more ninjas now, because instead of like fighting with elemental swords and stuff, they're getting back to, the ninja roots, the hand-on-hand combat, mano-y-mano. There is that part where, Zane shoots a couple arrows at Mr. E, but basically, it was a really cool fight. And then Zane gets his butt handed to him by Mr. E, which is really cool. I want to see Mr. E fight like that again, just because of how insanely cool that fight was. It's gonna go down. If I ever make a video that's like top 10 Ninjago fights, this is going in the top 3. So, that was awesome. Zane gets his butt handed to him, and Mr. E's like, the trap is set. But he says it in reverse and with a robotic voice, so you don't know what it says until Pixel breaks it down like 20 minutes later in the episode. So then, of course, Mr. E leaves Zane stranded there. Now, I gotta tell you, I almost cried. Like, the scene where Zane is just laying there in the desert, off, his system has been destroyed, there's nothing left, he's just, like, powered off. They start playing the music that played in Season 3 when Zane fought the Overlord, and he killed the Overlord. And it was like a remix, but because of the way the audio was playing in this episode, it played differently, so it just sounded, it was an audio thing, but still, you can hear the tune, and you know that is what that tune is. And oh my gosh, I almost cried, because you just see this slow pan out of Zane's dead body, air quotes, dead body, on the sand, and then it plays the intro with that music carrying over. It doesn't even switch to the intro music. Like, holy snap. That was awesome. So then it fast forwards into the night, and the ninja are looking for Zane, because you don't leave a brother behind, man. That's just so rude. They find him. Apparently the Destiny's Bounty has a Gertie. Is that what they called it? I think that's what it's called. It's like whatever the bed thing is that you would hoist someone up on. Apparently the Destiny's Bounty has one of those. They've gone all out with the safety stuff, man. Like, they made sure that every biker in the Sons of Garmadon is wearing a helmet. You know what I mean? So, they find Zane, they get him back on the Destiny's Bounty, and Pixel's like, he's gonna have to do all the rebooting stuff himself. I'm not gonna be able to do that, he's gotta handle that. So the ninja are like, well, what are we gonna do? Zane's, quote, dead, and the Sons of Garmadon probably killed him and beat him to a bloody pulp, and what are we gonna do now? So they decide to hide in this storm thing, and then this episode, I want to say this episode confirms that Harumi is the quiet one, because in the trailer called The Quiet One, pretty self-explanatory, at the end of that trailer, you hear the song that's like, the spider bit the mouse, sleep deep, yada yada yada, don't wake up unless you find a spider in your mouth. That, which is probably one of the creepiest things I've heard all year, is confirmed in this episode to be sung by Harumi. She's quieting the child. Is it the baby or the child? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. So she's quieting. We're gonna call it the baby, because that's what it is. It's a baby. It's not a child. So she's quieting the baby, and Cole's like, "Wow, you're really good at singing," or maybe that was Lloyd. So yeah, she quiets the baby. Yeah, we know she's the quiet one now. She may look innocent, but she's not. She's the quiet one. And I tell you, next week when episode 80 comes out and she confirms to be the quiet one, because I know in episode 80, they're probably going to get the Mask of Hatred, and that's probably when she's going to put it on. I don't know why. So, she's probably going to confirm to be the quiet one in the next episode, so you all can come back here and point at me when I said, hey, Harumi is the quiet one. You can also point to literally every other Ninjago YouTuber right now, which is kind of sad. And then, I think the one thing I didn't like about this scene. And unless this one scene has a payoff in later episodes, like it didn't happen for a reason, after Harumi quiets the baby, Lloyd and Harumi go out on the deck of the Destiny's Bounty, and they're like talking, and she's like, so what do you think that they're trying to revive your dad? And he's like, it's okay. I mean, I'm not too stoked about it, but it's okay. And she's like, okay, cool. And then she's like, and he's like, so what do you remember about your parents? And she's like, not much, and when I dream, they're here, and then they're not here, and then I wake up, and she's like, if you ever feel alone, I'm here. And then they lean in, and then they lean in, and then they lean in for a kiss, and Lloyd backs out. Lloyd, don't do that. No, don't do that. Lloyd, get your act together. If a girl wants to kiss you, you go for it, man. Especially if you like that person. Come on. We know Lloyd likes her. It's not like it's an uncommon thing. Come on, man. Clearly flirtatious, and I'm wondering if they didn't go through with that just because it's like, hey, Harumi's evil. Like, she's gotta have her redemption first. Then they can make out. And that's when it'll be okay. So, we move on. Cole's trying to quiet the baby because he's crying again, and he starts singing. I swear, Cole, singing, man. They're overusing this. They're like, oh, Cole, you don't like to sing? Well, guess what? You get to sing in every episode after you say you don't like to sing. Isn't that great? And I'm like, yeah, that's great. And then Cole lifts up the baby's wrapping clothing, I don't know, and he finds a map. Whoa! I actually wasn't expecting that. I didn't know that that's what they meant by the baby being the key. I was actually trying to think, well, how could you use a baby for a key? Maybe they need to hate something, and one of the Sons of Garmadon members hates babies, or maybe Ultraviolet hates babies. So in order to activate the Mask of Hatred, you would need to hate something. I don't know. Now we know. And then, of course, you have a nice little Jay and Nia scene. It's pretty niche. I like it. I like it that they're going back to the original Ninjago ship, you know, Jay and Nia. Before all the Zane and Pixel and Kai and Skylar and Lloyd and Harumi and Cole and Nia. And whoa, we're going to forget about Cole and Nia. So, Pixel calls them all into the bridge, and she's like, hey, so there's a infiltration thing. There's a trap somewhere. We don't know where. There's a trap. And they're like, oh, a trap? And then Kai throws out literally another meta joke. Another one. And he's like, huh, must be coded in their DNA. And I'm like, ah, yes, I love how meta this show is getting, and they're actually acknowledging the cliches of modern television and cinematography. Modern cinematography. It happens in every movie. So, they're like, what are we going to do? And Lloyd's like, well, if there's a transmission to the quiet one, can we trace it back? Okay, here's more evidence that Harumi is the quiet one. Everybody's like, yeah. And Lloyd's like, well, we're going to have to drop below the clouds to do that. And she's like, well, if we drop below the clouds, aren't the Sons of Garmadon going to find us? And then they're like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. So, obviously, she's trying to keep her own cover. Because if they went below the clouds, they would trace it. It would come back to the Destiny's Bounty, because that's where she's at, and that's where the quiet one is at. And she'd be busted, and then the whole Sons of Garmadon thing would fall apart. So, she's obviously trying to keep her cover. So, they stay up. Cole bursts in with the map. He's like, hey, guys, I found a map. So, then they go to eat and look at the map. And they're like, where is this at? And it's called the Primeval Eye. I just watched this episode like 10 minutes ago and I already forgot what it's called. It's called the Primeval Eye. And Jay stabs Kai in the hand with a fork. Or that's what we think it is, because that's the way he reacts, and that's funny. Cole starts feeding the baby tea, which, let's be real, guys, you can't feed a baby a drink. You drank, I don't know, you liquidize the baby with tea. You don't feed it tea. You can't feed someone a liquid object. That's not how liquids work. And then Nia's like, hey, you can't feed a baby tea. And I'm like, you're right. You can't feed a baby tea. You can give it to drink. So then the power goes out. The little spider in the house tonight takes out everything. Pixel reveals that she's Samurai X. I'm trying to fast track so this video is not like in a half hour long, although that's what I need to debunk this, you know? Maybe I'll start going live after the episode, and I'll just do like a live stream talking about it. Maybe I'll get some of my Ninjago boys to talk about it, and we can all talk about it after we watch it. So, they find out that the trap was inside Zane, and it was a tiny little spider, which Nia gets, quote, attacked by the spider. I thought something else when I watched it. We find out Pixel's a Samurai X. Samurai X comes and attacks the bounty. Yada yada yada. The Samurai X mech makes very short work of Kai, Zane, or Kai, Jay, and Cole. Literally, like, backhands them away. Like, ugh! So sassy. And then, you know, Lloyd's starting to actually make some good work on the mech, like, taking it out. And it just throws him on the ground, knocks away his sword, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you now. And then Harumi, like, blocks the attack, and she's like, not today. And then Samurai X picks up Harumi, and, like, Assassin's Creed free falls off the edge of the ship. And Lloyd's like, oh, no, this is not happening today. And this is how we know Lloyd likes Harumi, because you literally see him pick up the sword, and without hesitation, jump off the Destiny's Bounty. He literally jumps. Like, he's skydiving off the Destiny's Bounty because his girlfriend just got kidnapped. I don't think this is because he has to protect the princess anymore. I think this is because he's got some conceited feelings, and he's like, Hutchins is dead. Can't say anything now. So he jumps off, and then the best meta joke of the entire show, right here, the culmination of all seven and a half seasons and Day of the Departed. The best meta joke is when they're falling. After he destroys the mech and Samurai X jettisons out, Harumi's like, oh, we can use this map as a parachute. And Lloyd's like, are you crazy? Is this a cartoon? That's not gonna work. And I'm like, thank you, Hageman Brothers. Please, don't end Ninjago. Keep going like this. Please, this is so good. Guys, if LEGO tries to cancel Ninjago again, we form a revolt, we stop buying every other theme, and you just buy Ninjago off the shelves. We keep it going, never will it end. In 20 years, or 30 years, or 40 years, when I have children, they will be watching Ninjago. They will be watching new episodes of Ninjago. They will not be watching old episodes. We will keep this going. Anyway, so Lloyd puts Harumi in the mech, and clearly Harumi likes Lloyd too. I think we're going to have some Darth Vader stuff here, where she reveals that she's evil, and then she's like, join me, Lloyd, and together we can bring back your father and take over Ninjago. I think it'd be funny if she's like, you could be my top general. And he's like, no, I don't want to be your general, I want to be your boyfriend, Yeah, so Lloyd puts Harumi in the mech, and he lets the mech fall, but before he jumps off with the map, which it's ironic because he uses the map as a parachute, she's like, Lloyd, I need you. And he's like, and I need this map. And then he jumps. And I'm like, nah, comedy, am I right? So, they're both falling to their inevitable deaths. Zane gets up after Nia is getting attacked by the spider. He literally throws her trident at the spider and is like, what is going on? I fall asleep, and it all goes to chaos. This is why I can't leave you guys in charge. I feel like Zane could be the adult one. And he's like, I leave the kids in the house, I take a nap for 20 minutes, and I come back, and my house is destroyed. Come on, guys! So, Pixel reboots the system, and Nia keeps the bounty from falling by using her water powers, which we haven't seen her use in forever, and she keeps it from falling by, like, holding it with her water powers, and they have a, quote, safe landing. And, you know, Jay walks over and picks up Nia, of course. You gotta get the Jaya in there, am I right? And then we get the best cartoon reunion of the 21st century. Zane finds out that Pixel is Samurai X. They vow to keep no more secrets, and they hug it out. Because Ninjago is not ready for making out. It was so beautiful. And then we find out Lloyd, yet again, broke another limb. He broke his left leg, and now he broke his right arm. Lloyd, come on. Come on, my boy! And that's where the episode ends. And now we wait for episode 80, whatever it's titled, to come out next week. And I am ready, my boys. Let's go! So, with that being said, I love this episode. I don't think this episode could have been any better. Unless Lloyd and Harumi made out on the Destiny's Bounty. That's the only way it could have been any better. And if Zane and Pixel could have, had a little more screen time together at the end of that episode. Not, like, romantic screen time, but just, like, screen time of them interacting. But I guess they're saving that for the rest of the season. I don't know! This episode throws a lot of plot twists, because it's like, hey, the baby is not a literal key. It's got the map. But where did the map come from? Who wrapped the baby in a map? Whose baby is it? I actually do kind of want to know whose baby it is. Like, are we ever gonna find out who the parents are? Like, I don't think this is a time travel thing. And I don't think it's Baby Woo. Yeah, I don't see where this could go. I don't know where the baby could go. I definitely think Harumi's evil. And next week, when the episode comes out and we find out that she is evil, I'm gonna say, hey, I called it. You know? I called it. A week in advance. 2 weeks in advance. I called it in the last review video. So there's not as much to theorize off of this week as there was last week. I know my Mr. E theory was kind of short-handed. You know, it wasn't the best theory. But yeah. I guess I'm gonna end it here, so it's not like a 60-minute video. If you guys enjoyed this review and you are excited for me to bring you more reviews, don't forget to smash that like button. You can also smash that subscription button and the notification bell. Smash that bell. Crack it. Crack that bell because you smash it so hard. You can also check me out on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch, all of which will be in the description down below. And if you guys want me to start, like, doing a live stream, kind of talking about it afterwards, and call that a review instead of doing this, oh, I just did something, instead of doing this style of review, let me know in the comments. Just tell me that. So, I hope to see you guys next week for episode 80, whatever it's called, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.